My idea. Me to be the crowd do it.
Sing along once you get into it, all right? This is one of my favorite artists. I bumped this in the car. Everybody. Delicious is great. That's the letter S, right? That's the letter S, not squiggly line thing. That's S. All together. Alright. We got bisons in the house. Let's get some. Give yourselves a round of applause. Montanasi, Montanasi. Montanasi, Montanasi. Auntie, what's your chia? Mobis your chia. Bobo who say chia, your babesiano, a chia muddo, chia honton chima, a chia bebuau. And you did chi na betre chi. So we're going to teach chi using the chi language. Maya crab, you ready? Nana Kwame say, your friend Nana Kwame. So my name is Dr. Obadile Kambam, but I was installed as a traditional ruler of Ekwapim Mampong. So I'll write my name. So my name is an African name, and I was born with my African name. I've never had a non-African name in my life. My parents decided that they knew that we were African, so why would we give our African children non-African names, right? Which is interesting because I was born with an African name. I meet continental Africans every day who've never had any African name, right? John Dudson or whatever, these types of things.
Where are your parents from?
My parents were, my father's line is out of the Caribbean, St. Kitts and Barbados.
St. Kitts, sorry.
And my mother's line is out of North Carolina.
Okay.
Right? And my school name is Nana Kwame. Baby? That's it.
That's your tree.
Yes. Right. So once you get installed, you get a name that signifies that you are now a traditional ruler, right? So when someone sees certain things on you, then they'll know, okay, this person has a specific position. And my position is Bamuchidomhene, and this is the ruler of the rear guard, right? This is the last line of defense in military affairs, right? Now we're gonna play a quick game. Nana Kwame, so I'm Nana Kwame, right? And the way it works is when I say Nana Kwame say, that's Nana Kwame says. So you do what Nana Kwame says. Right? Like what?
Simon said.
Who's Simon? All right. Nana Kwame say, Mumbo Monsam. Nana Kwame say, Mumbo Monsam impreno. Nana Kwame say, Mumbo Monsam imprensa. Nana Kwame say, Mumbo Monsam imprenine. Mumbo Monsam imprenum.
Oh, no.
Sure. Nana Kwame Ankashi. So you'll be learning Chi, right? Nana Kwame say, Mon sorry. Nana Kwame say, Montanas. I think y'all was sitting down for a while. It was an informative lecture, but we got to get some of those juices flowing. Nana Kwame say, Mon sorry.
No, not me.
Who's listening? Nana Kwame say, Mon sorry. Montanas. Why didn't you just say Simon? Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsaso. Nana Kwame say, Monchamonshia. Nana Kwame say, Momo Monsam impreno. Nana Kwame say, Momo Monsam imprensa. Momo Monsam imprenine. We're not playing for keeps yet.
Yeah.
All right, we're just in a lot of things. Nana Kwame say, Monhuri. Nana Kwame say, Monhuri. Nana Kwame say, Monhuri. Monhuri. All right, y'all ready to play for keeps?
Yes.
Come out with a winner for this?
Yes.
All right. All right, we got some fun like that. Nana Kwame say, Momo Monsam imprenu. Momo Monsam imprensam. Nana Kwame say, Monchamonshia. Nana Kwame say, Monchamohon Shiambo Monsam. Nana Kwame say, Monchamohon Shiambo Monsam in Bribri. Nana Kwame say, Monkoto. Nana Kwame say, Monsori. Nana Kwame say, Monkoto, sorry. Oh, your bones cracking? Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsaso. Momo Monsam. Once we playing for keys, it's like. Nana Kwame say, Mon Grigori. Mama Monsaso. Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsaso. Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsam. Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsaso. Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsam. Mama Monsaso. I feel so children, I get them on now. Monchamonshia. Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsam in Breno. Mama Monsam in Prensa. Everybody turn out like that. Nana Kwame say, Moshe Soro. Nana Kwame say, Moshe Fam. Moshe Soro. Nana Kwame say, Moshe Soro. Nana Kwame say, Moshe Fam. Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsaso. Mama Monsam. I've already got you twice. Nana Kwame say, Mama Monsam. Mon Bribri. Nana Kwame say, Mon Bribri. Nana Kwame say, Mon Bribri. Nah, y'all all supposed to clap.
You clap. No.
Nana Kwame say, Monkoto.
What is that arm up?
Nana Kwame say, Monsori.
Sorry?
I don't know.
Stand.
Oh, I feel the puppet sitting down.
All right, then they out. Nana Kwame say, Montanasi.
I think it's her.
And we have a winner. I think out of St. Kitts. Montanasi, sit down. I thought you had stopped. You sat down, he sat down. Okay. All right, so we have a tie. So we have a tie. All right. So who knew that on your very first minute you already understand things in G, right? So we'll continue. So this is an intro G class, and our time is short, but we're going to try to give you some of the crash course in understanding the G language, right? Now, the G language is very rich with proverbs, expressions. What we'll do is we cover the alphabet song. Now we'll go through examples of words using those alphabets, and then also some basic vocabulary that you will need, survival vocabulary, and that should give us, a nice foundation for today. So who remembers what this letter is called? Very good. The artist formerly known as A, right? But that was its slave name. It doesn't want to be called A anymore. It says, I'm African, I'm A, right? This letter has reclaimed its identity. A, as in spa or apple, as in the U.S. pronunciation of apple. Now here they call it apple, right? But apple. So you have A or A, and it depends on what word that sound occurs in, such as dad, B, that's more like the apple sound, or abibiman. So here we have abibiman, Abibiman. Abibiman. And that is the word for what?
Africa.
Very good. And for those who are wondering, this is Africa from an African perspective. The very first map makers always showed Africa south up, right? And if you want more information, I can tell you after.
Wasn't South Africa one of the first countries to be discovered by the Chinese?
So South Africa was not a country at that point in time. South Africa is a very new concept. But you have Dolerite settlements that were found. These are stone settlements that are found that date back thousands of years and have been found interspersed throughout the countryside. So you have the oldest examples of mining dating to 43,000 years ago in what's now the border of modern-day Swaziland and South Africa. So this was a place that was inhabited before anyone else. So you don't discover people who are already there, the people are there, right? It's like if I came into the room and then I say, I'm Chinese, I've discovered you black people. You would say, get out of here. So African people have been here for quite some time. All right? So that's A. Next we have Be. That's A. As in sitting by the dock of the bay, as in bait or as in P. Ebois. If you remember, this is the letter E and this is the letter O. So when it comes together, Ebois. Now, I went to school in Atlanta, and little did I realize that a lot of Atlantans are speaking Tree like, what? What stop? They'll say, oh, people are speaking Tree, right? But it's that same sound, right? You find black people use these same types of sounds, you know, all throughout. So, Ebois. And one thing that I'll tell you is that as you're learning Tree, it helps to, as a mnemonic device, link new knowledge to old knowledge, right? So you can think, okay, what's the word for rock? That walk to a rock, right? That'll help you remember. So now it's not something so distant and far away. It's just rearranging knowledge that you already have, right? You know all of this already. As in day, or as in divine, or as in the chi, Ardong. Very good. And it sounds like what it is. Ding, dong, 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 dong. So Ardong translates to what? Very good. Now, if you hear someone say a word like Ardong, let's say you're walking down the street and you hear all these people for some reason saying Ardong, and you want to know what that is, you can ask them, Ardong, you say that word, and you say Echreseng. Let's try that, Echreseng. Echreseng. There you go, that'll be a good way to help you remember. Is that interesting? Sang, as in that woman can sing. Sang. Very good. And what I tell people is that this expression is probably the most important thing that I will ever teach you. Why? Because, at least in Chi, maybe I'll teach you something else important. But it's because with just this expression, you can learn everything else in the language, right? If you hear someone say anything, you can ask them, and you'll be learning more Chi just with this expression, right? If I hear you say anything, I can say, Very good. So if someone says, Ardong, how would you respond?
Does that mean what is it or what?
I'll give you the breakdown part for part. So is it, chre to show, and then sang how, it shows how. But the way it's used is like, what does that mean? Right? What does that translate to? Right? So you have the literal translation and then the figurative translation that helps you understand when would I actually use this expression. So that's it. The next one, And you'll notice that some of these letters are highlighted in red. What do these red highlights have in common? Very good. Vowels. And these are the main things that are going to be different from anything you've read since you were 4 or 5 years old. The vowels. Now, for those of you who have studied some of the Latin languages, Romance languages, they work very similar to these, right? So this is A. As in pray or as in if. So this letter can have 2 sound values, either as in pray or as in if, right? And depending on the word it comes in, that's where you'll know which one to use, right? Now, the dialect of Chi, the whole language is called Akan, right? Now, Akan has different dialects in it, just like you could say perhaps Ebonics. And there are different dialects. If you hear someone talk who's from Texas, right, they're like, yeah, cool. I get mad on the slab, cool, right? You know what I'm talking about? You hear somebody from New York, they're going to be like talking like this. Now, you could say it's all Ebonics, but you know, it's like some differences between, you know what I mean, like this and, yeah, man. Right? So Akan works like that. Akan is the umbrella, but within that umbrella you have different dialects. And the most widely spoken dialect is called Asante Chi, right? So language is the umbrella, and then dialect is that division underneath. Now, because I like to be interactive when I teach, when I say Asante, I want you to say Chi. 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 Don't spit on the person in front of you. Chi. So I say Asante, you say Chi. Asante? Chi. Asante? Chi. Asante? Chi. Very good. Y'all got it? Chi. So let me go into the mechanics of how to make that sound, right? Because we'll come to it here, but the mechanics of it. So the way that's spelled is like this. And a lot of people will think you would say it like Tui, but you don't. So the way to do this is that what this letter is there for is to tell you to round your lips. It's not a W per se, it's just an instruction. It tells you round your lips as you make the sound that comes in front. So let's just make the sound t, 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 t. Now try to do that with rounded lips. Ch, ch, ch,
What?
ch, ch. So just start off with that. Now round your lips.
What's a round
Oh, I got it.
Like you're gonna blow up a balloon or kiss or do, right? Chi.
What is a rounded lip? Okay.
Right? Purse your lips like you're about to blow up a balloon. Chi. He ain't believe you. See how folks are doing? All right, Asante. Chi. Asante. 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 Very good. That's how we stay interactive. So we have A as in Okusie. Let's say Okusie. 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 Now if I ask you the question, Okusie Echereseng.
Right.
What is it, right? What does that mean, right?
Right, so if you hear someone say Okusie and you don't know what it is, then you ask them, Okusie Echereseng. So what's that word Okusie that I heard you say? Right? And they'll say, oh, that's right. Right. Next we have and that's as in revolution, or as in Chi, abe, I bet you better remember that word. Right? Abe, and should I say?
Palm tree.
Oh, I got yeah. Very good. So that's palm tree. Next we have fe. As in freedom. Or as in chi, efie. And efie can translate to either house or home. So if you know that Luther Vandross song, it wouldn't make much sense in chi, but it's the same word for both. You say efie, and also efie. You're like, what? So efie is house or home. The next letter, who can try this? Ge. Very good. As in gate, or as in chi, agro. Agro. Agro, it's the same. Mo, I idea.
What you say more after we said again, what did you say?
I said mo. That's congratulations. When you do a good job, I'll say mo. Let's try this. Mo. Why idea? Mo.
Why idea? Mo.
Right? So that's saying congratulations, you've done a good job. Congratulations. Now if I want to say plural, I say my idea, you all have done a good job. So let's try that. Mo, my idea. Mo,
my idea.
Mo, my idea. Mo,
my idea.
Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo, my idea. Mo. Very good. So if you hear me say that, then you know I'm telling you you've done well, right? Our next letter is the letter he. As in hope or as in chi, ahene. And that's my position as chi ahene. Ahene, it's the same. Very good. Now some people, especially in Ghana, they'll translate this as chief, but I don't like the word chief for the same reason I don't like the word jungle, for the same reason I don't like the word hut, for the same reason because in the English language they built in that anything that's associated with Africa is the lesser thing, whereas they give to themselves a higher thing, right? So you can have a teeny tiny little box of a dwelling, let's say that's a house, if it happens to be in the US, but then you can have a huge sprawling complex and say, look at your African hut, right? So these are the things that we don't necessarily think about, but it's part of this ranking system that Dr. Ayesu was talking about before as well. Next we have, what letter is this?
E.
Very good, as in?
B.
Or as in chi? Essier. Very good.
That's the lady name. I thought that was S.
So you have a name AC,
SC.
which is different from Essier.
Wait, okay, you said that Ohine?
Ahene.
Oh, Ahine is a name that you took on as well?
No, that's a position. So
A
Ahene
position.
is a traditional ruler, right?
Okay. So I couldn't be like, oh, my Ahine and my, I don't know, queens. But if I like was
Ahema.
saying, could I say that? Or
As
is it
in-
only for, like I'm trying to figure out, like, is it for like a status or some type of like leadership?
Yes, it's a leadership position in the community where the people of the community come together, bestow the title upon you, and then
Okay.
also responsibilities that come along with that.
Okay.
All right, so here we have ACA, and that is what? ACA at Chirasai. And here is me standing next to one. So this is actually, a sizable one. So when you see the termites are like as big as, how you have your hand? Yeah, like about, no, I'm joking. The termites are regular size, but I say in Africa, even our termites build pyramids, right? So check that out. Next one we have, what letter?
K.
Very good. As in?
K.
Or as in chi, wants to try this? Akoko. Akoko, it's the same.
Chicken.
Very good. Asante? 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 Very good. The next one, O. As in you're about to say like, but you don't get quite so. As in lake,
Lake.
or as in chi, obolo,
Obolo.
obolo,
Obolo.
obolo. if someone calls you this, if it's a man speaking to a woman, it's a compliment because they like the women big. All right. We have as in maroon, or as in P, mako, 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 mako. Now, if you hear someone say mako, how would you ask me what that word is that I just said? Mako etre pepper. Mako etre pepper. So I'm telling you that mako, it translates to pepper. Mako etre. So notice that I took off just saying that's the question word, right? So I'm saying mako etre pepper. Mako translates to pepper. Next one we have is as in never, or as in P, nana, 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 interesting. How could it be both? See somebody like squeezing their faces like, yeah, what's...
Is it like the grandchild can call the grandparent and then vice versa?
Mm-hmm. But what?
Oh, did that answer your question? Somebody else.
Take it from here, I did what I could. It actually goes into the question that was asked earlier in terms of why 8 days, right, in the naming ceremony. Now in Chi, the word for a week is nawachi,
Nawachi.
nawachi,
Nawachi.
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 Nawachi. And this comes from na, which is days, and then wachi, which is 8. 8 days, right?
I feel like, I don't know, like, I don't remember exactly what he said about it as far as, like, they say it comes from, like, a religion or something, or it doesn't come from a religion. But, like, I know back at my hometown, we have 8 days of glory. So it's like they try to, like, incorporate it, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe, I don't know about the 8 days of glory, but
No,
I'll
that's what they
explain.
really call it, 8 days
Yeah,
of
yeah.
glory in Philly, so.
Okay.
I just feel like it's so ironic.
I appreciate you sharing. Now, let me explain what this is. So, the day, what's the first day of the week among the Akan?
Sunday.
Very good. What's the last day of the week among the Akan?
Is it Thursday? Saturday, Thursday.
Monday, Tuesday.
The next Sunday?
Also the week is 8.
So the week is 8 days. So you can think about it like this. Playing charades look like, sounds like it's a snake with its own tail in its mouth. And what this represents throughout the African continent is that the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning, right? So that 8 days represents the completed cycle. So the very first day of the week is called Kwaziada, which is Sunday. The very last day of the week is Kwaziada. The first day of the month is Akwazide, which is the major festival, which is on a Sunday, Akwazide. The very last day is Akwazide. And the very first day of the year is called Odrira, which is the major Akwazide. Odrira. And the very last day is Odrira. So the beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. You see this on the sacred bark of Nisubiti Tutankhamun, who they call King Tut for short. But again, you see this image of a snake with its tail in its mouth. If you go to Benin, what they call Dahomey back in the day, that you will see the same thing, a serpent with its own tail in its mouth. So again, that represents that cycle of completion of 1 week. Now watch it. Very good. Now that ties into this as well, because the idea is, just like you see on my bag, right? You see a circle and then you see that circle intersected, right? Now what this represents is, here is sunset, right? Here is midnight. Here is sunrise. And then here is noon. You see that? And the idea among African people is that the human being is also like that, like a living sun. This means everyone has their sunrise and everyone has their sunset. Now let me ask you a question. When the sun sets, does it stop existing?
No.
How do you know?
Because the time.
You say, well, because I've been alive longer than 2 days and I've seen it happen. But yeah, so that's the idea. So with this, let me do this here. You have the idea that you are actually going to start in sunset, right? That you start at sunset because the idea is that if a person dies, they haven't really died. The idea is that death is nothing but transformation. The end of one cycle is the beginning of another cycle, right? So you come to sunset, and then you come to here, which is midnight hour. It's like conception of a human being, right? You come to here, it's like sunrise. It's like the birth of a human being. You come to here, it's noon. It's like when you're middle-aged at your strength, and then eventually you get weaker, and then you transition again. So this is the idea of African people. Now, at naming ceremonies, typically it will be the elder, opening. It will be the elder who gives this newborn child their name on the 8th day, right? Now, the reason why is because it's thought that this person, the opening, is the best one to recognize their own grandparent when they reincarnate.
Oh, okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Right? So that's the idea, is that just like the sun doesn't stop existing just because we can't see it when it sets, and then later on rises, that's the same idea. Now, it sounds very spiritual, it sounds very abstract, and then we start to think about modern day physics where they say energy isn't created or destroyed, it's only transformed. This is what our ancestors have been saying for thousands and thousands of years, right? So if you think about the human body being made of 60 to 70% water, when you pass on, does that water just disappear and stop existing? No, it evaporates, it becomes a cloud, that cloud becomes the rain becomes a river becomes an ocean, and so forth and so on. So that's part of the idea. So this is why when you have a child who is reincarnated, you'll have a small child who's called Nana. Nana is a title of respect that you would give to a grandparent. But because this grandparent recognizes this is my reincarnated grandparent, and I recognize them because of their behaviors, because of their facial features and markings or whatever, then also you are Nana. And it's seen as being very rude to not call this reincarnated grandparent with their title. Right? Does that make sense? Very good. So a lot of the worldview is built into the language. Asante?
Oui.
Asante? Asante! Very good. Now we have O. And this can have two sound values, either own or hook. And this particular one, osio. That's rain. That's rain. Now, the way the language works is that if you change the prefix for some words, it changes entirely what it is, right? So we have osio, and this is the one we encounter most often. Nsio. Like olive water? Any type of water. Basically the idea is it becomes ensure when it's in amounts that can be handled by human beings. So even if it originally came from the sky, once it comes into a bucket, this is now ensure. Right? And then we have this one. Asio. That's what that A as an apple sound. Asio. What do you think that one is?
Nice.
No. That's in Sukotia. No. Highly unlikely given where we are.
Like a tear?
No. That's Ebo.
Is it like Yeah, like tears or sweat or something like that?
No, that would be inicio and Tifre, respectively.
I'll tell you. Is it
Shower.
a body of water?
It's a what?
Ocean?
Like what?
A river or ocean?
It's one of those two.
River.
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 Hey!
All right. My bet's on the river. All right. And you're correct, sir. That's you. That's you. That's a river.
Oh yeah, it is something else, yo, right? The name of, how do you say Slave River? That's
No concio.
Oh, I knew
No
it.
concio. Very good. And that's part of this one up top.
Yeah.
And then finally you have ACO. 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 What do we think that one is?
Ocean.
Oh, that's good. That would be acetylene.
No.
That would be the That's
Tears.
That's inicio.
It's something with water. It's not busting.
No, that's sure.
Car wash.
Car wash? No.
Yeah.
It is rain related. It's water. Toilet. Shower. Can we play charades?
That's what we're doing. Cheat charades, right? Sounds like, looks like. Y'all need some help?
How does the water take, like, how does it take shape? Like, how does the water take shape? Is it moving? Yeah, it's Is it big? Is it little? How did we say that word again? I mean, that phrase again?
Which one? The weak thing?
It's yo.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Oh, that's what you want. That's the same.
Very good. I'm glad you want to use what you've learned already. So, interesting. You can say, is you interesting? Very good. So, is you, this is the word for the essential nature or character of something. So this one translates to the internal essence of the thing.
Oh, word. Like our essence is water.
It's like that. And you have ebang, ebang. This comes together in a compound which is suban. Right? So they usually translate that into English as your character, but it's your essence, the internal essence, and then the external form, which is ebang. So that comes together to be your character. So what you see is, it shows you a little bit of the worldview. We're thinking about, okay, these are all things that are liquid, that are transformable, liquid, flowy, but the same idea is that your character is just like that as well, right? So you have a proverb in Osna Dinkra symbol called Sesawasuban. Sesawasuban, which is transform your character, right? So again, when you see how different languages deal with concepts, it helps you to understand a little bit of the worldview of the people, right? So if you ask someone in English, what's the relationship between your essential nature, your essence, and water? And like, what? But it's built like that in the language to show you that there's this relationship, right? We continue. All, as in law. All right, close your eyes and don't read it, because if you read it, you won't pronounce it correctly. Everyone close your eyes. I promise I won't steal your land and give you a Bible. So this is Alabama. 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 All right, now you can open your eyes. So it's not written at all like what it sounds like. Alabama, so the R isn't pronounced. Alabama. And that translates to, and let's say, Asante? 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 Chi. Very good. Make the T and then round it.
You just had to do that.
That's all. Good. That's it. This is how we make sure that after your first class you will know how to pronounce it because you will have said it at least 60 times before you leave this room. Pe, as in pay, or as in taste, or as in chi, mbuano, mbuano. Now the word for ocean is inside of this word, so that's po. Ano translates to mouth. The mouth of the ocean is what we would translate into English as beach. Right? And again, like I'm saying, the world view comes out in the language, right? Because if you think about the word, and what I liked about chi is that you can see things like this, whereas if you say the word beach in English, it's like, does "bu" mean something, does "each" mean something? It doesn't really break down to help you understand anything about what it is you're saying. It's just like a sound that you memorize. But here, the parts actually mean something. So here the is what makes it a noun. So when I combine the po and the ano, I need something to bring those two together. So I know it's an independent noun, so that's what the does. Mbuano. Mbuano. Br. And this sound is like the sound that you would make in butter. But not the R in butter, these two T's. What happens is that your tongue touches up to the top of your mouth very quickly. Butter. 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 And that's the same thing that you do here. Abura. Abura. The same thing you made in butter is the same thing you say abura. Abura. Abrabe. 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 Now, this be lets you know palm tree, and abra is letting you know a foreign version of a palm tree. So in the language itself, it tells you that pineapples are not indigenous to Africa. They're actually indigenous to Central and South America. Right? Abrabe. 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 Then we have se. As in say. Or as in so. Or as in sika. You'll need this word, trust me. Sika. Sika, it's that size. Very good. And the connection is, back in the day, people used to trade using gold dust, right? So you would weigh your amount of gold dust against the weight. Then that tells me I can buy a sheep or a goat or whatever. As in take, or as in otuo, or as an otuo, as in blue, or as in tuntum, tuntum translates to black or dark. Then we have, we're getting close to the end, we. As in world, or as in riase. That comes from ri, which is the atmosphere, and then ase, which is underneath. So the word for world is underneath the atmosphere. Riase. And finally we have ye. Some of you are happy we're at the end of this list. You're saying yeah. Right? As in yes, or as in chi, or you want. So that's how go, my dear. A, B, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, O, O, R, P, C, T, U, W, Y. A, B, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, O, O, R, P, C, T, U, W, Y. Yay! the evening. We have more, but I think Tom, we should. Are we okay? All right.
What time is it? It's like, nah, I'm playing.
All right. How much longer do I have? Okay, no problem, right? All right, so we have letter combinations, and when you were saying chi, you were doing one of those. And the letter combinations are easy, as long as you know that the second letter is just giving you an instruction, right? Right? So this second letter is always going to be a we or a ye. When it's a way, it means what? It's telling you what to do. Round your lips. Exactly. So it's the same sound you already know. Just pronounce that sound with rounded lips. The ye is giving you another instruction. It's telling you put your tongue up at the roof of your mouth. Ye. Ye. Ye.
Yeah.
You feel where your tongue is? Ye. 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 So it's telling you to do that. So let's try that really quick. So this is the letter what by itself, the first one? De. What's this letter by itself? We. So De and We got married and decided to have a child. And that child was called J. 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 So make that sound J. J. J by itself. Now round your lips as you do it. J. 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 So anytime you start to say, how do I pronounce it? Just make the D sound and then round your lips. Right? The next one, ge and what?
Yeah.
Good. So ge and ye also decide to tie the knot, jump the broom.
Yeah.
And we're very good. Just as in gymnasium. If you ever wonder why gymnasium is spelled like that, it works the same way in chi. So this one, how do you think you would pronounce this word? Oja. Oja. Very good. Next one. What's this individual letter by itself?
Hey.
And this?
Wait.
So make the sound he, 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 he. You'll notice that once you're speaking Chi, you'll want to brush your teeth beforehand, otherwise you'll be breathing on people, right? So hey, and then round your lips when you do it. It sounds almost like a whistle. And you'll hear people say this a lot because it's the word for look. And people use it as an interjection. They say, hey, shit. Right? Like, check that out. Shit. Shit. Hey. Shit. Right? As in bushwhacker, or as in chi, ashisha. 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 Very good. And this is what they call a duplicated verb stem. So when you look at it, it looks back at you. Shisha. 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 Very good. The next sound combinations, what's this by itself? What's this by itself?
Yeah.
Very good. So when he and ye come together, they make a sound like? So make a h sound and then put your tongue up at the roof of your mouth.
Yeah.
It don't come out right.
What's going to happen is that the air is going to go over the tongue like a car in a wind tunnel. So it's like in English, but that one is closer to right behind the teeth. That's shit. This one is with your tongue flat and closer to the roof of your mouth. Shit. 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 Good? As in ship or as in chi, as shine. As shine. As shine. Very good. Then we have que. 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 As in acquire. We have che. As in chia. We have mwe. As in wrong word. Or on one. On one. On one. We have nye. As in Kenyan. or as in Tanya, or as in Senorita, or as in P, Anyanam, Anyanam, Anyanam. And then we have Te and We, which makes something like a tre. That's what we've been working on, right? As in Inchworm, or as in P, Echa, Echa, Echa. Very good. I want us to do another song. I know we're short on time, but I want us to do another song before we close out so we can end on a happy and high note. What's this?
I am no, I am not sure I am One is 1 to 1.
Nana Kwame said, I'm sorry. Wabeti kotoje na swa, si wabeti kotoje na swa, ni wason, ni ushini, ni wamo, si wabeti kotoje na swa, si wabeti kotoje na swa, si wabeti kotoje na swa, ni wason. Ni ushini ni wano uti wabeti kotoje na swa ti wabeti kotoje na swa. One more time. Everybody's getting your workout on. You thought you were coming to learn Chi, you're coming to get in shape. Kotoje na swa, ti wabeti kotoje na swa, ni wason, ni ushini ni wano, ti wabeti kotoje na swa, ti wabeti kotoje na swa, ti wabeti kotoje na swa, ni wason. Ni ushini ni wano uti wabeti kotoje na swa ti wabeti kotoje na swa.
Can you teach us some good things we should know when we go to the markets, as far as like language that we can, things that we can say?
Yeah, that's actually what I had on tap, and we can go over a couple of them.
Okay, whatever you think is most important. Thank you.
So the question was things that you can say when you're going to the market, really quick. So one thing you can say, you can point at something and say, where saying? Where saying? This is how much. You can use sang, or you can use another word, ahin. Where saying? Or where ahin. Where saying? Where ahin. Where saying? Where ahin. You don't have to say it like you know, beat. To reduce the price, teso. Teso. If you want to be more polite, you use this in front. Me paucho, teso. Me paucho. Me paucho. Me paucho. Me paucho. Teso. And if you want to sound more polite and like you were raised by, you know, correct parents and not like wolves, you use this me paucho as much as possible. If people say, aha, yeah, you were raised well, right? Me paucho teso. Me paucho, where you saying? Me pacho way a sang. Me pacho way a he. Tiso. Me pacho tiso. Right? Now, when it's time to deal with the money, you can use some of these terms. So, Fabra. That's telling them to bring whatever the thing is. Fabra. Fabra. If you want to sound like you were raised well, what do you say in front of the Fabra? Very good. Mi pacho Fabra. Mi pacho Fabra. Or if you have the object that you want to mention, you say fa, whatever it is, bremi. Right? So let's use cigar, which is money. Fa cigar bremi. Fa cigar bremi. Fa cigar bremi. Very good. If you want someone to take something from you, you tell them literally receive this thing, right? You say jin, 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 jin. What are you saying? What are he? You part your teso. What is the teso?
Take how much?
Reduce the price. Very good. What are he? What are we saying there? Very good. How much does it cost? Now I say, me part your fabra.
Bring it. Please bring
Exactly. And there's two parts. Fa is the take part, and then bra is the come part. So literally take it and then come. That's what you're doing when you're bringing something, right? Fa bremi. Fa bremi. Very good. J. 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 So if you're giving someone the money, you don't tell them to take it. You don't say fa. You say J. You're telling them literally to receive this thing, right? J. That's right. J. Ge. Ye. E. J. Very good. Are we okay? Debbie. Debbie.
What is that?
No. Debbie. Okay, we see it. This expression. So for yes, we say ani. You can also shorten this to just ani. 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 It's like yes and yeah. Ani. Ani. Watch your ani. Debbie. 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 Now there's a language that's spoken here in Accra called Ga. And they have a very similar word, but they pronounce it differently. They say Dabi. So chi is Dabi. It's an ass sound, kind of like apple. And Ga is Dabi. Dabi. Right? So you know it's chi if you hear that Dabi. Now if you really want to say no, Dabi, 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 Dabi.
There you go.
Dabi, Ani. Right. For Debbie, and for anything to emphasize it, you can add O to the end of it. Debut. Debut. I know. Debut. David. Right. Any other questions? All right. I think people may be hungry, sleepy, tired. There are words for those too. But I think we'll continue on another occasion. So I thank you for your time. Yes.
I have a question. Not like a class question. I just want to know, like, have you been like considering like going to teach like at an HBCU or like do you think like?
I am at an HBCU.
I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about like Morehouse or like Howard, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need like more teachers like you.
Yes.
Oh, that's
So like, I just want to know, like, I can never go to Morehouse, but like, I just think that it would be like decent to come to like Howard or something, just to offer like class, because I know like a lot of people are interested, but then there's like the opportunities. Or maybe just pop your head in. You don't have to do it.
Well, let me give you a resource that I use. the way I actually put myself through the PhD was by teaching African languages online to some universities and independently. So there's a website called Abibitumi, which translates to Black Power in P. So abibitumi.com. And on through that website, I teach P, I teach Yoruba, I teach Wolof. We have classes in Kiswahili and Medu Necha, that's what they call hieroglyphs, and many other languages as well. So that's Abibitumi. And there's also an app for it for both Android and iOS. You can download the app. But that's what I do. My greatest hope is never to set foot on U.S. soil again.
I'm dead, me too.
Right? So I will not be going to Howard if I have anything to do with it. And this is kicking and screaming. But that's one way that I still, I'm able to impact the lives of people who are on that side. I also encourage Africans to repatriate. I gave a talk called Divest from America and Invest in Africa to Make Africa Great Again. And basically the idea is that every single minute that we're there on that side, we're financing the same people who are using that money to build prisons, to buy the bullets that shoot us down the streets, to buy the bombs that bomb us in Africa and elsewhere. So every time that we're paying our mortgage or paying our taxes or doing whatever, they take those funds, they flip it, and then they build the prisons that house us. And according to Dr. Michelle Alexander, there are more black people working for free, according to 13th Amendment, in slavery right now in prison than were in 1865. So all of those are some of the reasons why I have no intention of going there to finance my enemy. I'm coming here to divest at a greater level and invest in Africa. Once Africa is world power, that's where you'll see people respecting African people wherever we happen to be. All right. So thank you very much. How many different languages do I speak? I speak Chi, I speak Yoruba, I speak Wolof. So Yoruba, does everyone know what Yoruba is spoken? Wolof, mainly in Senegal, also in Gambia. Also Kiswahili, nasema Kiswahili kidogo tu. Kikongo, but that's at a lower level. But then I can greet in so many languages that I never count any of those other languages. I can also, I'm conversational in Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese specifically, and then a little bit of English. So I'm slightly familiar with English. Right? Now I can do some different dialects of Black English too.
Yeah, I heard some about it.
Yeah, I can do a little bit there. All right. So it's been a joy and a pleasure. I hope that we are able to interact again. I think we have like a closing dinner on another day or something like that.
I wanted to ask for the